Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. These art lessons are taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I hope you have fun, create imaginative works of art, and make sure you share them with someone because, after all, the visual arts are meant to be seen.
Hey Cape artists, and welcome back to the Heart of a Viking. In our episode today, we're continuing our patriotic week, and we're learning today all about the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is a very iconic symbol for America and patriotism, but why? Why a Liberty Bell? Hopefully throughout our lesson today you'll learn how the Liberty Bell became such a patriotic symbol for America. We're also going to learn how to draw the bell itself, and we'll learn where in Delaware we have a replica of the Liberty Bell, if you didn't already know. So grab your creativity, grab your art supplies. I'm super excited to share all of this with you, and head on over to your art creating space.
Sometimes ordinary objects become special over time. The Liberty Bell is just such an object. The Liberty Bell began its life as an ordinary bell ordered from London to ring at the Pennsylvania State House in Philadelphia. Everyone was excited when the bell was delivered to the State House in 1751. But when the bell was rung, it made a terrible sound, and a wide crack appeared on its side. So how did this bell become a patriotic symbol? After the bell cracked, John Pass and John Stow offered to fix it. They used a sledgehammer to break the bell into pieces. Then they melted it and recast it, adding some copper to strengthen it. The bell was completed in 1753, but when it was rung, it had a harsh, dull tone. The people were disappointed again. Pass and Stow were determined to fix it. They took the bell down, melted it once more, and added some tin. The new bell sounded better, but it still didn't have a beautiful tone that the people had hoped for. On July 8, 1776, the Congress read the newly signed Declaration of Independence to the people. Imagine their joy as they heard the words, "All men are created equal." The bell rang out after reading the Declaration. On the bottom of the bell was written the words, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof," a phrase which comes from the Bible. The bell suddenly seemed more important and special. During the Revolutionary War, the bell was hidden from the British under the floor of a church, and after the British left Philadelphia, the bell was retrieved. It rang when Britain surrendered in Yorktown and when the peace treaty was signed in 1783. After the war, the bell was used only for special occasions. It was rung in 1835 at the death of Supreme Court Chief Justice John Marshall's death, and unfortunately it cracked once again. A new bell was ordered, and the old bell was largely forgotten. Then, in 1846, a newspaper writer suggested that the cracked bell be rung to celebrate George Washington's birthday. Suddenly, the old bell was beloved again, and it was named the Liberty Bell. Since then, the State House in Pennsylvania has been renamed Independence Hall, and the bell is kept in a glass case across the street. It's rung every 4th of July and on special occasions. Super cool fun fact, did you know that there is a replica of the original Liberty Bell in Delaware? That's right, it's one of 53 replicas throughout the United States. They were made in France and donated to the U.S. in 1950. This replica bell in the photograph here is in the First State Heritage Park on Legislative Mall in Dover, Delaware. Cape artists, are you in for a treat today? You're going to have lots of choices to make as we create our piece of artwork to really personalize it, to make it how you want it to be. You'll get to make it either with color or without. You'll get to use lots of patriotic words. So let's see what we need to get started, and we can plan out your plan of attack. Alright, our Liberty Bell project needs a black ink pen. This is a pen. I know it looks like a paintbrush. We need a regular pencil, a Sharpie or black permanent marker, pair of scissors. We'll need some colored pencils or crayons, And you'll need a list of patriotic words. In the description attached to this video, I have a link to a website that gives you lots of really cool options for patriotic words, so you can find your list from there. Then you'll need a piece of white drawing paper. Alright, so let's start with our white drawing paper sideways in front of us, and I'd like for you to fold it in half one time, just like that, and then open it back up. Then I'd like for you to cut your paper in half. This size is too large, so we're going to use a half size paper to do our artwork today. Okay, put that one piece aside and we're going to use the other one. Okay, so a few more folding steps. Hold your paper tall in front of you and you're going to fold it in half one time just like this and then open it back up. No cutting this time, just folding. Then I want you to take the bottom and fold it up to the top. And then keep it closed while you fold the bottom to the top once more. Perfect. Open that all back up and you should have a piece of paper that has a fold down the center and 3 folds across. Okay, so the reason that we made those folds just now is so that we can create a symmetrical Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is perfectly symmetrical. That means it's the same on both sides if you were to cut it in half. So we want to draw ours the same way. And the lines that are going across the horizontal folds, those lines are going to help us make the Liberty Bell the correct size. So the proportions are the correct way. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start at the horizontal fold at the very top, and I'm simply going to trace it. I'm starting almost at the left edge and going almost to the right edge, leaving a little space on the sides. Then I'm going to trace up almost to the top, but not quite, and then make my own line that goes across here. There's no fold to trace, I just made my own line. So what shape did I make? Yep, a rectangle. Okay, so now I'm going to put on top of that rectangle a little trapezoid. So this trapezoid is going to be right across the top, right across that center fold with the 2 little diagonal lines pointing down, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to move down a little bit, right to the bottom of this rectangle, right where all of those folds are crossing. And look at where I put this circle. This circle crosses both folds, the vertical fold and the horizontal fold. Okay, now I'm going to put another circle under that first one. It's going to hang off the bottom of it, and this one is going to cross over that next horizontal fold going across. It's going to go a little bit lower than the horizontal fold going across, but I do want to make sure that it's evenly on the right side of the vertical fold and on the left hand side of the vertical fold. Okay, so now I'm going to make the bottom of the bell. So I'm going to trace the edge of my circle and I'm heading down towards that last horizontal fold, and I'm going to bring a curved line down to that last horizontal fold. Alright, then I'm going to connect the ends of these 2 lines with a line that goes just below that little horizontal fold that's going across, just like this. You want it to look a little pinched in right there where I'm drawing now, and a little bit wider at the bottom. Great. Now I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to erase the bottom half of that circle. I don't need that anymore. That was just to help me draw. I'm going to erase the line that's going through the circle at the top, and erase the line that's connecting the 2 circles, just like that. Now I'm going to add a little curved line that connects the 2 circles, so it looks like one goes right into the other one. Okay, now at the top of here we're going to change this shape. At the very top I'm going to put a little bump right in the middle. It goes right over the vertical fold. Then a little hump on the left side and a little hump on the right side. So that it's symmetrical, those 2 little humps should be the same as each other, the one on the right and the one on the left. And a little bit of erasing just to clean that up. Okay, so now I need to add a little extra portion on each side of the Liberty Bell. So I'm drawing a line that's continuing down from the sides that are even. They look just like each other. And then a line that points in towards the bell. Excellent. And then a line that curves up. It goes right to the edge of that original circle that we made, just like that. And the other side too. Okay, now erase those 2 lines for the original rectangle, so this looks like one big piece. Next, I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to add the little bell sneaking out from underneath, and of course the iconic crack. Okay, now just a few details. I'm going to put a couple of lines going across the Liberty Bell, one at the bottom here and then 4 at the top. And then I'm going to move to the top of my Liberty Bell and make a couple of like little rounded lines or like little half circles. These are for the bolts that are on the top of the Liberty Bell. And then right in the center, I'm going to make 2 more little circles and connect with 2 straight lines. So now I'm going to use my Sharpie and I'm going to trace the whole thing, then use my eraser to erase the messy pencil lines. Okay, so now I need my list of patriotic words and my black ink pen. I did a little scribble on my corner of my paper just to make sure my ink pen was ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a word from my list to each different space of the Liberty Bell. So across this very top stripe, I'm adding the word liberty over and over and over again. It's almost like I'm coloring with letters. Kind of strange to think about, but that's sort of the technique that we're going with. Then I'm going to move down to the second stripe, and here I'm going to write the word truth over and over again to fill in that second space. Okay, then I'm going to move on to my third space and I'm writing the word support in that space. And as you can imagine, this just continues and continues. In every different space, you have the option of writing one of your patriotic words, and you also have the option how big or small you write it. So this time I'm filling in this space with much taller letters than I used at the top. It gives the area a different look. It makes the texture of it look a little bit more airy, not quite so dark. So if you're trying to go and create a lighter space, use bigger letters that are more spread out. If you're trying to create a darker, smaller space, then you want to put letters that are smaller and closer together. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the really big space in the bell. I'm going to use just the letters USA, and I'm going to write them very large and then just repeat the lines that the letters make. Instead of repeating the letters over and over, I'm just going to repeat the lines over and over. Now when I get to the top where the wooden area is, I'm going to make my words in a zigzag line to give it the texture and the look of the grains of wood that would be in this area. Using this technique also gives me the opportunity to use lots of my patriotic words I found. I included words like faith, honor, devotion, spirit, pledge, bell, duty, national, and I'm sure there's some more, integrity. Lots of great patriotic words get to be in this space. And then in the final spot, I'm going to write one more big word. I'm going to use the word bell. I'm going to fill this whole space with big long letters like I did for the USA, and just repeat the lines that the letters make instead of repeating the letters themselves. Whoops, almost forgot this little space at the top. I'm going to use one more word up here to fill in this space, devotion. Alright, Cape artists, now a big decision for you. You can either leave your Liberty Bell exactly like this with just the text. It could be finished. Or if you want, you can also add some color. And then when you're adding color, you even have lots of choices. So I'm going to go with traditional colors. So a brownish yellow for the Liberty Bell itself and brown for the wood that's on top of it. But you could also be creative and you could make it red, white, and blue if you wanted to. In addition to that, the background space, the space that's behind the Liberty Bell and around it, you can also color that space. So you can choose to make it just like a light blue as if it was the sky behind. You could make it waving lines like a flag. You could make it like circle shapes or whatever you wanted to do, or even just all one color. So lots of choices when it comes to adding color. Let's see what I choose to do. And I'm using one of my favorite techniques. I love doing this. I love putting the color a little bit darker around the edges and then fading the color in. I did it on the bell and I'm doing it on the wood up here at the top. I can still see my letters perfectly. My words are still very, very legible. That means readable. I'm just using my shading technique here with my colored pencils. And notice I'm also using more than one color in every space. Just helps to give it that sort of realistic look. And colored pencils are somewhat erasable. So since I went out of the lines a little bit, I was able to erase those little mistakes. And then I'm going to move on to my background. I think I'm going to do a wavy line, red, white, and blue sort of pattern. All right, let's see how it goes. Well, artists, what do you think? So here I have two of the choices that we had today. We were either able to make the one with the color or the one without the color, but the beginning part of the project was all the same. I wonder which one you choose. I can't wait till you upload these to Artsonia so that I can see which one you chose. All right, well, I hope you had a great time creating art with me today. I hope your Liberty Bell is equally as impressive. I love that it has these secret messages throughout it. You have to stop and really look at your art. An art teacher told me one time that a good piece of art draws you in and makes you want to look at it longer. I hope your art today draws people in and makes them want to appreciate and look at your hard work too. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here next time at the Heart of a Viking. HOB artists, don't forget to hop on over to Artsonia to upload a photograph of your piece of artwork to your art portfolio. I can't wait to see it.